We're with Coach Julie Heisey from the SPU women's basketball team. Falcons getting ready to head to a very cold Alaska later on this week for the NCAA West Regional tournament. Julie came down Sunday night. It was all official. You were back in the tournament. What was the feeling when you finally saw it on the screen there?
Well, lots of feelings. I think it was real. You know, we thought we were in, but just to see our name on the board was a big deal. Definite excitement, happiness for our girls, and a sense of pride because they've worked really hard. And you know, the last 2 years we had some injuries and things that kept us out, but just being able to know that our seniors reached that goal, our team reached that goal, that was a huge deal. So we're excited to be going to Anchorage, and I mean, it's great that it's in Anchorage. I think we've already played in this arena. It's someplace we've already been. We love our side of the bracket, and that we get to play a team first that we haven't played since November. If we win, we get a team that we haven't played at all this year. And so it's nice just to not have to start with a conference team.
And as you said earlier, it's just flat out hard to get into this tournament because there's so many good teams out west. So just to be one of those Elite Eight teams in the West region anyway, it's got to be a really good feeling.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we talked about that today, just that to know, number one, only 64 teams are playing, and that's a big deal. And with Division II is unique in the way they choose their teams, and it's very hard because I know there's teams left out every year, just like I felt like we were left out last year, that are good. And it is competitive. There's a lot of good teams. It's a long season, and one loss or one win changes a lot. So, yeah, we are ecstatic to be in, especially I think just looking at how the region's changed with, you know, Cal Baptist, this is their first time they can compete. Azusa was able to compete this year, Point Loma. So they brought a lot of good NAI teams that came in, and, you know, they've had a chance to, they've done well in the region, that's for sure.
Humboldt State, a very good team that we saw in November, and they're probably even better now as SPU is as well. What do you do to get ready for a team like that?
Well, Humboldt, in many ways, is kind of a mirror image of Western, which is kind of funny because they lost to each other in a high-scoring game, but they have a lot of similarities in that they have very good point guard play. Wilcox does a really good job pushing the ball and getting into the paint, and she's a scoring threat, but she, you know, really does a good job of finding people. Jay Shin's a local product out of Mercer Island, and she can flat out score. Their post player, Jure, is their leading scorer, and she's just a good athlete, a good scorer, a good rebounder. But, you know, they have 4 or 5 people, Gomer, they all can score. And they have three-point shooting, they have drivers, they have post players. So just, you know, I think the challenge is, you know, we got to make sure that they don't get easy points because they can definitely put points up.
As your team heads up to Alaska, do you like the place they're in right now, both mentally and physically? Are they ready to go and take on the challenges of this tournament?
I think they're excited to be there. You know, this is something that we've dreamed of. This is excited. You know, we're excited to go. I think it'll be easier once we get on the plane because right now we've missed school the last 2 weeks and finals start on Tuesday. So there's kids right now in labs. There's kids that have just, you know, they're trying to do double duty to get their homework done. So I think every time, once we get on the plane and can let it go, it'll be a lot easier just to focus on basketball. But we are student athletes.
And you've got some very good academic student athletes as well who can handle things like that.
Yeah.
Having played in the GNAC tournament game last week, does that give you any kind of an edge, you know, heading right into another tournament like this, you know, knowing what tournament pressure is like?
You know, I don't know. I think, you know, the hard thing about the GNAC tournament is we were there and we only played one game. And I think the edge may be the fact that we lost. You know, we lost a game, and we don't want that to be our end, and we don't want to leave with that taste in our mouth.
How do you assess this whole region? Is this as tough a West Region tournament as you've seen in the time that you've been at SPU?
Well, I think definitely the last 4 or 5 years, there's just so much more balance. And but even when we went in 2010, when we went to the Elite Eight, Chico was a number 7 seed, and Western was a number 2 seed, and Western was upset by Chico. And Chico ended up making it to the championship game. So I think that there's always been balance, but for sure I think anybody can win on any given night. And the way the bracket is, I mean, Cal Baptist and White Pacific are just faced each other, and they're going to see each other again. Dominguez Hills and Pomona are going to see each other again. So, you know, that's another weird thing about NCAA Division II is that at any other bracket, you don't see a conference team for for like 2 rounds.
Right.
And so I think just the familiarity, it's hard to beat a team 2 or 3 times, let alone 4 times. And for some of these teams, they're going to be playing each other 4 times. So I think there's no question that you know, the bracket's tough, top to bottom.
All right.